God, helping us to go about this day. We thank you, oh God, for your Son, for your Holy Spirit, for your word. We thank you, oh God, for the decisions we are about to make tonight, and we pray that each and every one of them will be pleasing in your eyesight. And in the end, we'll be so very careful to give you all the praise, honor, and glory. For it's in Jesus' name we ask it all. Amen. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Ford, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Dean? Mr. Sharp? Mr. Thompson? Mr. Faulkner? Mr. Tanner? Mr. Groby? Mr. Gould?
Here.
Mr. Canulet? Mr. Belisario? Miss O'Brien? Mr. Stefanczyk? Mr. Bender? Mr. Artigue? Mr. Smith? You have a quorum.
Okay, first item, Mr. Belisario, I'm going to ask you to open up off the floor items so we can move up the presentations 1 and 2 from off the floor.
I can make a motion to open up the November 1st, 2012 items off the floor.
All right, vote with your lights. It needs to be unanimous, please.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
All right, the first item will be a presentation of the St. Tammany Parish Public School System for earning a grade A in the district performance scores. Mr. Foltz. This is actually becoming a very pleasant surprise.
I know, I want some office space up here.
Yeah, really.
We have a facility charge for that.
Right.
Okay, we have a certificate.
That's my fault. This is a resolution in support, right?
Yeah.
I'm just checking to make sure I was at the right meeting.
Okay, a certificate of recognition to the St. Tammany Parish Public School System. The St. Tammany Parish Public School System received a letter grade of A in the latest district performance scores released by the Louisiana Department of Education last month. District performance scores are determined using the school district's individual scores, student scores on LEAP, iLEAP, and the end-of-course testing, as well as attendance, dropout rates, and graduation outcomes. Our parish congratulates every one of the teachers, school employees, students, and their families for this tremendous accomplishment, as well as the leadership of St. Tammany Parish School Board Superintendent Trey Foltz and his central office staff. The certificate of recognition was unanimously approved by the St. Tammany Parish Council on November 1st, 2012. Mr. Foltz, I'm going to walk up there with Ms. Brister, but I'd like you to tell the people what this means to this parish.
Thank you. You know, this is, in the last couple of years, the state has been presenting letter grades to school systems across this state, and we have certainly been highly regarded as far as the letter grade, but we had been sitting on a B for a couple of years, and with a lot of hard work and determination. I think your resolution said it best when you name all the different groups and organizations that are part of this, that we celebrate this with. We received recognition in a call last week that we have been designated as an A school system. I tell people all the time that we're certainly proud of that, but I also know as a school system that we want to be known more than just a letter grade. We want to be known for more than just test scores. We think it's important that those things are important, but the most important thing we can do is live up to the motto that we talk about, every child, every day. And that's what we try to do as a school system. It'd certainly be nice to be recognized with the A. We'll take it and we'll enjoy it and we'll celebrate it, but we also know that there's plenty of work to do for our school system to continue to be the system that people can look up to. And I need to say, too, just two people I know that are on your council that have, through the years, have had a great support of our school system and had a lot to do with the recognition that we received, and that's Mr. Tanner and Mr. Sharp, who worked for the school board for many years. Both of them I've had the pleasure to work with side by side, and I know that they were quite happy with our achievement as well. So we thank everyone, including the public, our school board members, for their leadership, and we're looking forward to continuing to work hard to meet that challenge of every child every day in our school system.
It's an honor. I want to tell Trey, thank you for all you do. I see him everywhere. He's working all the time, and it really makes me very proud to talk about St. Tammany and our school district and how good they are. So thank you for giving us that opportunity.
Okay, next presentation will be recognition of Lorraine Williams, Karen Milliken, Jimmy Laurent, Madeline Laurent, Joy Valise, Joe Allen, Evelyn Steinhauer for contributions made for after Hurricane Isaac. Mr. Groby?
Yes. As many understand, Hurricane Isaac affected each and every community in St. Tammany Parish. The Lacombe community was, of course, there was no exception there. During these times of trial and tribulation, each community always seems to have individuals who step up to the plate, going above and beyond their normal sense of duty to assist the area in disasters. It's with deep gratitude that I want to publicly thank each of those for their contributions they made in the days after Hurricane Isaac. Not only for volunteering their time for days after the storm, from early in the morning till late in the evening, but they also opened their homes to strangers, cooked meals for the citizens of Lacombe, assisting in the community in more ways than can be listed. I'm proud to call them friends as well as constituents, and our community is stronger because of each one of them. Therefore, I'd like to publicly recognize them for their dedication to the community. I'm going to ask them to all come up to the mic so we can take a picture, and I'll tell you some of the things that they did. You're basically looking at 4 or 6 people who work from morning till night out of their homes, cooking, cleaning. Miss Lorraine, you got to try a red and white beans. Let me tell you, they are good. Evelyn, I can't even list all the things she did, from helping hand out food to cooking a little bit to just everything. Karen and Jimmy and Madeline couldn't be here tonight because, again, they're volunteering their time with All Souls Night tonight. Joy Velez and both Joe Allen. I can't think of how many bags of water, cases of water and bags of ice they helped move. And Karen, last but not least, she actually went out of her way, brought all kinds of animals to the kids at the park to take their mind off the disaster, include one really large yellow snake I had to help. You have to understand, I'm like Indiana Jones with snakes. I'll do it, but I got to have a gun in my head almost. This is what makes your community strong. It's as simple as that, Evelyn. When, not everybody can help, but the ones who do make it extremely efficient and caring for you to come home to. Julie?
Thank you.
Julie? And I'll make sure the other ones get there.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, I need a motion to move up under presentations from the regular agenda, item number 1 under proclamations. Second by Mr. Canulette. Vote with your lights on moving it up.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Okay, we have a proclamation by the parish president of November 9th, 2012 as Black and Gold Day. And this is sponsored by Ms. Brister and myself. Lisa, come on up. Bring the ladies.
Whereas on Thursday, November 1st, 2012, the St. Tammany Parish Council declares Friday, November 9th, 2012 as Black and Gold Day, and whereas the St. Tammany Parish School System will allow all students to wear black and gold for a donation of $1, which will be donated for the construction of the Children's Museum of St. Tammany. And whereas we encourage all businesses in St. Tammany Parish to allow their employees to wear black and gold, in exchange for a $1 donation, which also will be donated for the construction of the Children's Museum of St. Tammany. And whereas the Children's Museum of St. Tammany will be nestled on a lush plot of land just off Coop Drive, adjacent to the Kids Connection Playground and the Tammany Trace, and whereas children 2 to 12 will not be just educated or entertained, but will have their curiosity, creativity, and imagination awakened. They'll discover new ways to think. They'll be encouraged to question, deduct, debate, and explore. Now, therefore, I, Patricia Brister, as parish president, and Marty Gould as chairman of the council, that was hard to get out, of St. Tammany, do hereby proclaim November 9th, 2012 as Black and Gold Day, and citizens of St. Tammany Parish are urged to support the Children's Museum of St. Tammany fundraiser. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're welcome. My piece of paper there.
We, of course, would like to thank St. Tammany Parish for their continued partnership with the Children's Museum of St. Tammany, and we are also thrilled to see Trey Folse get that special recognition as well, because he has also partnered with us, and he's very excited to see the museum built for obvious reasons. So we are really in good company between the parish as well as the school board, and we would like to really encourage everyone, for not just in this office here, but just to go out, anyone that you may know that has a business or works for a business that could really use the participation this year. We were looking to grow the businesses by 20% this year, so we do need several more to come on board with us. It's a really easy and fun way to encourage, not only for, cheering for Saints, because we certainly need that lately, but also it's a fun way to just have a fun day to support the Children's Museum of St. Tammany. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Okay, under special items, ordinance calendar number 4585, ordinance adopting the 2013 parish operating budget. Going to need to postpone this. Is that correct, Mr. Balsario?
No. The only thing I wanted to bring out, because we've had the two directors' meetings on two different nights, and one of the things that, on some of the recap forms we presented, one of the things that I noticed that I think people need to know, when you look at the budget this year versus last year, the parish operations, which is the integral part of the total budget as far as I'm concerned, the administration with Pat's lead has cut those costs by $3 million, which I think is a very important thing to do, because there's a lot of unexpected things that will be coming up next year. We're aware of that. So I just want to make that known to the public.
All right, Ms. Brister, do you have anything you want to add for the time being?
No, other than thank you, Mr. Belisario, and I want to thank the entire council for working with us and meeting with us throughout this process. It's not the easiest thing to cut a budget, but we needed to, and we did, and I thank you for your support.
Thank you. All right, with that, we need a motion to postpone. And second by Mr. Stefancic. Vote with your lights.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
All right, ordinance calendar number 4886, ordinance adopting the 2013-2017 parish capital improvement budget and program, and further identify fixed assets and grant awards. This has got to go the same way. And second by Mr. Stefancic. Vote with your lights on the postponement, and that's postponed until next month.
And Mr. Chairman, you might want to further explain, it's being postponed because we're continuing to have meetings with council
Of course.
members and our departments, and want to make sure all the questions are answered before it's voted on. That's the reason it's postponed. Nothing wrong.
No,
Okay.
absolutely. No, actually, this is the most thorough process that I, in my 9 years on the council, that I've ever seen, so I'm real appreciative of it.
Marty?
Yes,
Just
sir.
got one other thing. We've had two hearings so far, as everybody knows, and the turnout from the public has been light, to say the least. And I'd like to encourage people, we have hearings coming up November 7th and 8th, then 14th and 15th of November. So take some time out and learn how the process works. I think you'll really be comfortable knowing the money is spent the way it's supposed to be spent when you see the directors take the lead on showing how they're watching over public funds. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Vote with your lights, please. Oh, we did? All right.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
All righty. Moving on to the consent calendar, any items not pulled from the consent calendar automatically approved in whole by one vote. Items pulled from the consent calendar are discussed and voted upon individually. I have the following items coming off for being pulled. Under resolutions, number 1, C-3472. Resolution number 3, that's C-3540. Number 4, which is C-3541. Number 6, which is 3543. Item number 20, under resolution C-3557. 21, resolution council series number 3558. And number 23, resolution council series number 3560. Now, I need a motion on the consent calendar. Item 26, I don't have that marked down. All right, and also item number 26, what's the number? C-3563. Okay, no, I didn't have it on my list. All right, now I need a motion on the consent calendar. By Mr. Stefanczyk, second by Mr. Bellisario. Sir?
Resolution number 2.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Number 2? Okay. Are there any other items that y'all want to pull? Okay, so we're going to pull item number 2 under resolutions as well.
Why are you pulling number 2?
Mr. Falconer had a question about it, but I think he had his question answered and just referred it because it was Mr. Dean's item.
I got a cell phone. We could just call me.
All right, so we're not going to pull item number 2. Now I'll take a motion for the consent calendar. Mr. Bellisario, second by Mr. Artigue. Vote on the consent calendar, please.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Okay. All right, first item is Resolution Council Series Number C-3472, resolution approving the issuance of not exceeding $600,000 of limited tax certificates, Series 2012, St. Tammany Parish Fire District Number 4, State of Louisiana. Mr. Falconer, this is yours.
Yeah, I'd like to move that we approve the resolution.
Well, I had a couple of
Ms.
questions.
O'Brien, I believe you have a question?
Yeah, I
we
did
gotta
want
have
to ask,
Motion before we have. We gotta have a
Yeah, we
motion and a
have,
second.
I need a motion and then a second first.
Okay.
All right, you going to second? Ms. O'Brien seconds. Okay. All right, Ms. O'Brien?
okay. I just wanted to ask, out of the, how many mills of the 25 mills will be used to pay off the debt?
The 25 mills is bringing in approximately $14 million this coming year. This is only a $600,000 borrowing
Okay.
over a 10-year period, so it's going to be roughly $70,000, $75,000 a year. There's a ton of coverage of the existing 25 mil tax, not a new tax being
Right,
levied
I
to make the
understand.
payment. Always want to make that clear for you. But there's a ton of coverage in the tens of up to, do the math for me. Yeah, a lot of coverage there, so it'll be using just a minute portion of it.
Okay. I also wanted to point out that you said that everything's going to be levied through year 2021 and to mature not over a period exceeding 10 years. Shouldn't that be 9 since we're in 2012?
If we issue the bonds as anticipated, which will be sometime in, after the bond commission approval in December, so we're looking in January, the final maturity would be March 1st of 2022. The taxes collected through 2021 actually come in the year 2022, so that would be sufficient to make that final payment.
Okay.
We would not be able to get through bond commission or subsequent approvals or sell the bonds, as Mr. Ryan could attest, if we didn't have sufficient coverage from the tax in order to make that last payment.
Okay, and I just wanted to ask, anything else you think that's pertinent for us to know before we vote?
This is one that has been on your agenda for a number of months, and it's,
Right.
so we've made a prior presentation about it. At the request of the council, the district actually solicited for bond counsel, and our firm, as Foley and Udell, was selected as bond counsel for the district. So I think most of it is, we've either discussed before, or is more of the vanilla-type financing that we bring before you pursuant to the Constitution.
Just checking.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Next item, thank you, sir. Next item is Resolution Council Series Number C, 3540, resolution to concur, not concur with the City of Slidell annexation and rezoning of .361 acre from Parish HC2 to City of Slidell C4, and this is Ward 8, District 14. Mr. Smith? Turn your mic on, Mr. Smith.
I think that was pulled at the committee meeting, probably to just refer it to us, but
Yeah, just to refer.
Yeah, and-
On these, we have to vote individually anyway.
Yeah, you
So
you
we
either
move-
have to
we-
concur or not
yeah,
concur with it.
We'll move to concur.
Second by Mr. Ortiz. Vote with your lights on the concurrence.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Resolution Council Series Number C, 3541, resolution to concur, not concur with the City of Slidell annexation and rezoning of 1.966 acres from Parish HC1 to City of Slidell C2, Ward 8, District 8.
Yes, Terry, I just want to, Terry and Mike, we did get everything worked out with the city on the language to make sure everything's clear, correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Canulet. In fact, in front of each council member, there should be a revised copy of the resolution. In the initial proposal from the city, that property was referenced as HC1 zoned in the parish. That's incorrect. It's actually zoned NC4, Neighborhood Institutional District. And so the resolution does reflect that now. And yes, there's been multiple conversations, particularly with the planning director, Sidney Fontenot, and the planning director in the city, Tara Ingram Hunter, confirming that the city does intend to rezone that property C2, neighborhood commercial in the city. And that's essentially the same type of use of parish zoning and city zoning for that property. There is a slight intensification of the zoning, but that is because the parish zoning NC4 has a maximum building size allowed of 12,500 square feet. The proposed CVS pharmacy that's going in there is going to have a building size of, Sydney, help me here, 13,000.
250.
250. So it's just a slight intensification just for that reason.
Mr. Chair, I have one other thing I want to bring out. One of the key things in looking at this is our engineering department has to make sure that the drainage on this is held to the highest level possible because of its location, which is just outside the boundaries of the gravity drainage district in that area.
Yeah. I want to thank Sydney and the city for getting all this paperwork worked out. Move to concur.
Second.
All right, vote with your lights.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Item number 6, Resolution Council Series Number C, 3543, resolution to approve and authorize the parish president to sign and/or execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between the parish and the North Shore Harbor Center District. This is in Ward 9, District 13. Mr. Ortiz, second by Mr. Smith. Is there any discussion, any questions? Ms. O'Brien, you had requested this to be pulled? This is the Harbor Center. Put your mic on, please.
I'm sorry. I did want to ask, I noticed that they said it's a maximum amount to be reimbursed under the agreement of $400,000, and there was supposed to be an Exhibit B that I thought would give an approximate cost, and I don't see Exhibit B. I was just wondering what the approximate cost was going to be.
Ms. Long, do you have anything on? Or Ms. Campo?
Thank you. I believe that the exhibit was a quote that was received in order for us to get the grant funding approved
Okay.
by the Lieutenant Governor's office, who is administering these BP funds, and it was within that $400,000 price range, but they will have to re-procure properly in order to utilize these funds to go ahead with the construction, and I can provide you a copy of that exhibit.
Okay, I know it's going through public bidding and grant
Yes.
funds, but we always want to get the most for our dollar.
Absolutely.
All right, so I have a motion, and we have a second. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Okay, item number 20, Resolution Council Series Number C-3557, resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to transfer funds in the amount of $32,250 from the Voluntary Developmental Agreements escrow account to Capital Fund 302. And let's see, Mr. Tanner, I believe, well, this,
I know, I was wrong. It was actually Mr. Sharp.
so who do I go to?
Mr. Sharp.
Mr. Sharp, this needs to be amended. You want to move on the amendment? And it should be here in front of you somewhere. Okay, yeah, here it is. What it was, I believe they had the wrong council district, so we need a motion and a second by Mr. Thompson. Vote on your light, on the amendment first, vote with your lights.
With a verbal from Mr. Smith, motion is unanimous, no one absent.
All right, move on approval, Mr. Sharp, second by Mr. Thompson. Vote on your lights, with your lights.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Okay, next item is Resolution Council Series Number C-3558, resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to transfer funds in the amount of $16,000 from Voluntary Developmental Agreements escrow account to Capital Fund 6. Mr. Tanner, I believe you want to pull this, remove it? What do you want to do with it?
I don't think I do, do I? Yeah, I'm removing it. I got it coming up in off the floor, yeah.
So what are we doing with this one? All right, I need a motion to remove.
I move to withdraw.
Second by Mr. Thompson. Okay. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
All right, next item is 23, Resolution Council Series Number C-3560, resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to transfer funds in the amount of $1,000 from Voluntary Developmental Agreements escrow account to Capital Fund 310. This is in District 10.
Right. I just wanted to point out that...
Need a motion first, please.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Motion to approve, second by Mr. Stefanski. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to point out that it says 1,000 at the top, 1,000 on the reserves, but it says 16,000 in the text here, so we have a typo.
And the $1,000 is correct, so that needs to be amended in the body where it says
Right.
St. Tam Parish hereby resolves to authorize the Director of Finance to transfer funds in the amount of $1,000 from the voluntary developmental escrow account.
Just a typo.
All right, so we had a typo, and we have a clarification. So we got a motion and a second. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Number 26, Resolution Council Series Number C-3563, resolution to approve and authorize the parish president to sign and execute or execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between the parish and St. Tammany Fire Protection District Number 1. This is in Ward 8 and District 9. Is someone from the fire district here?
Yeah, so moved.
Motion, second by
Yeah.
Mr. Belisario. Any other discussion?
Yeah, hang on a second. Chris, come on up to the mic, but before you speak, I want to say something. I'm going to ask Chris to give us a quick update into kind of what's going on since the fire station burned down there in Cross Gates, and just kind of give everyone a, but sometimes a song can just say something so much better than me, so you ready? See if it works.
You're actually going to do this?
I'm trying, it won't come on. Ah, there it is. All right. I was dared now. That was on a dare. But I'm gonna tell you the good part of the dare.
I feel the love.
No, he wasn't but love. Now the best part of the dare was for me to get up and dance, but I didn't want to scare everybody at home and in the building. So I saved that part. No, but if you don't mind, can you give us just a quick update of the situation and what we're looking at over there, please?
First of all, I want to thank all of y'all for working with us, Parish President Brista, for getting the agreement executed. Obviously, our goal, once we had the fire, was to get fire protection back in that area as quickly as possible. Within the next 10 days or so, we should have the second building on site to where we can actually man that site, which is the parish's property, which is directly next door to the fire station property. We did work through the insurance process. The building was a total loss. We wound up demolishing the building, the foundation, and we have plans to move forward and build a new building. We'll take the opportunity to enhance what was there before, build it a little bit larger for the future, and obviously we'll have to put some proceeds towards that. But with the growth and development in that area, it was a 32-year-old station. We will build it better, bigger, and newer with all the new code requirements to better serve that area. So within the next 10 days, we'll have the temporary living quarters manned, and we will be selecting a professional record in the next week or so. And of course, that whole process, we think, may take from the advertisement selection and build-out is probably around 10 months. So that's why we asked for a 12-month agreement, and we anticipate having that building rebuilt and have us back in within that 12-month period.
Look, I want to thank you and all the guys. We really appreciate what y'all do.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Second by Mr. Stefanczyk. Now vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Okay, under appeals, I believe, Mr. Dean, you have one that's going to be tabled? You want me to read it and you can go ahead and table it? Is
Yes,
that correct? All right, under the third appeal, Susan Lagarde appealing the zoning commission approval on October 2nd, 2012 to rezone 8.901 acres located on the southeast corner of Louisiana Highway 77 and Louisiana 1085 from HC2 to HC2A. That's in Ward 1 and District 1.
I'd like to make a motion to table, but before I do, I just want to say that we are still working through a lot of things. It's not as easy as people think. Let's just throw a grocery store up there. There are a lot of things and people who will be affected, including that intersection, including a lot of the residents, including a lot of the other businesses. So there's a lot of stuff that's being worked out and discussed, and as soon as we get it done, then there will be something there. And we hope to get that done within the next month. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to table.
All right, you're going to postpone it until next month's meeting, second by Mr. Thompson. Mr. Smith, you have your light on?
Next.
Oh, okay. I think I understand what you're saying now. All right, vote with your lights.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
All right, Mr. Smith, I believe you have something you want to table? Oh, okay. Well, we go back to, you want to table number 2 now? All right, I'll read it. Gregory Benefati, appealing the zoning commission denial on October 2nd, 2012 to rezone 11,000 square feet located west of Bookter Road, south of US Highway 190 East from A4 to HC2, Ward 8, District 14.
Yes, sir. Due to Mr. Bonfatti's inability to be here tonight, he had some business to take care of. By the time we're going to move to table, postpone this until next month.
Okay, motion and a second by Mr. Stefanczyk. Vote with your lights on the postponement.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Are there any other items that need to be tabled from appeals? Okay, let's move on to the top. Scott Jordan appealing the zoning commission denial on September 4, 2012 to rezone 1.19 acres located east of Louisiana Highway 41, north of Bill Stotts Road, south of Jack Crawford Road from A3 to I1. This is in Ward 6, District 6. I see Mr. Shane is at the mic. I would assume is representing Mr. Jordan. Is there anyone in the audience that's in support of the denial? Okay, Mr. Shane.
Good evening, Mr. Gould and council. Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm in Covington. I represent Jordan Investments of St. Tammany, Mr. Kevin Jordan and Scott Jordan being the principals of that company, and of course the owners of the 1.19 acres that's the subject of this appeal. I'd like to give you a very brief background concerning this property, which is on the east side of Highway 41 at its intersection with Bill Stotts Road. For approximately 30 to 32 years at this site, there has been a 6,000 square foot warehouse that has housed different businesses throughout the year, through the years. Before comprehensive rezoning, the property was zoned C2 highway commercial. During the comprehensive zoning process that you completed, the property was, I think it's fair to say, erroneously rezoned A3 single-family residential. I'm sure that was not done with any intent. Certainly the landowner was not aware of what was going on, did not participate in the process, and it was simply just a property that was overlooked. Since that time, my clients have a tenant that is conducting business at that location for the last 6 months or so, and through the permitting process to operate his mechanic shop, I guess auto repair shop, and also body shop, it was learned that the property was in fact zoned A3 residential. That obviously presented problems for him conducting business at that location. The story continues in that the council saw fit to recommend a change of zoning to I-1, and this property was referred to the Zoning Commission for consideration. A staff report from the Department of Development noted the history of the property, the fact that it had been an office warehouse for many years, and in fact recommended that the property be rezoned I-1. However, the Zoning Commission did not agree with that recommendation, failed to recommend a change of zoning. Accordingly, my clients took an appeal, and of course we're before you now this evening. We appreciate the fact that Mr. Tanner, the councilman in the district, has listened to our request, has in fact met with us on site, has not only walked our property but also looked at other properties in the area, both commercial and industrially zoned property. In order for our tenant to continue at this location as it relates to the body shop use, you must have I-1. It will not be supported with anything less than that. And of course, as we know, there are no conditional use permits that would allow for a body shop in a lesser zone other than I-1. So with that having been said, Mr. Tanner has studied this matter with us, and we understand that he has, of course, opinions and concerns about the change of zoning that was initiated by the council. At this time, I would ask him, and I told him that I would ask him this, I would ask him if he would consider zoning the property I-1 so that the current tenant could maintain the body shop component at that location.
Mr. Tanner?
Mr. Shane, I appreciate your meeting with me and the constituents about this particular piece of this piece of property. I cannot support I-1 industrial at that location, and so I would recommend that, it not be, we would concur with the denial. I would recommend concurring with the denial.
Mr. Tanner, before you make that motion, and we obviously anticipated that that might be Mr. Tanner's position, what we would ask the council to consider is, rather than denying the request and allowing the property to remain A3, we would ask that Mr. Tanner and the council consider a substitute request, if you will, to zone the property HC2. My client is amenable to that. He's not technically the petitioner in this case, but again, if Mr. Tanner would agree to that, that would be appreciated.
Mr. Tanner?
I so move, and I will agree to that.
So the motion is to, well, let's first of all, let's say we need to amend the request. The request has been amended, and the motion will be to
Go from A4 to A2.
Yeah, we have to override the denial, but then you have to stipulate that it's going to be C2.
Okay.
All right, so the motion is to override. Second by Mr. Thompson. All right, vote with your lights on the override. Stipulated that the property will be C2.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
All right, you need to introduce an ordinance to change the zoning of that property to C2. So you move on the ordinance. Second, HC2, excuse me. Second by Mr. Thompson, and it's only action that needs to be taken at this point. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shane. All right, number 4, under appeals, Pastor Kathleen Javry Bacon et al. Appealing the Zoning Commission approval on October 2nd, 2012 to rezone 2.12 acres located south of Ben Thomas Road, east of Javry Road, west of US Highway 11 from A4 to I2. This is in Ward 9, District 14. Mr. Smith, let's see, is petitioner here? Okay, come to the mic, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
since these people are new, remind them of the rules.
Right, I will. Is there anyone here in opposition to this? So we do have, we do have opposition. All right, we're going to have 5 minutes that you will be able to present your case as to, let's say you are actually.
I'm Douglas Fisher.
Right, you're Douglas Fisher, and you're representing
Myself.
the Javry Bacon family?
No, myself.
Okay,
He's not the petitioner.
you're the owner of the property,
I am
okay.
the owner of the property, correct.
We had, no, this is number 4.
They're all the same, 9 sets.
Look, I'll get with you in a second.
You're hearing this backwards.
Yeah, he's not the petitioner.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I need representative from the Javry Bacon family first, since they are appealing. You will be coming back to rebut their request. Ma'am, you have 5 minutes to make your case, and then you'll have 2 minutes of rebuttal time.
Yes, sir.
After you finish your 5 minutes,
Yes.
then this gentleman will have his opportunity to speak, and then you can rebut with he speaks.
Yes.
And vice versa.
Yes. It's not, I'm not representing.
State
go
your
ahead.
name for the record,
Okay, I'm
please.
Pastor Kathleen Javry Bacon.
Javry.
And we are the North Slidell community of Ben Thomas Powell Drive. We have a homeowners group there. So we're here again today. We were here on the 2nd, and I turned in, we had some names of seniors who could not be here, who were in opposition to it being rezoned, the zoning change from A4, single-family residential district, to an I2, and on that particular night, as we said, he was granted. It was asked of him if he would, if it would be all right with him, if he would agree if it was changed to I1. We're here back again in opposition, and I'd like to have the councilman, and Councilman Smith is our new councilman for our area, and we're here tonight, some of us in opposition, we're standing firm on our wanting it to remain A4. At one time, someone was looking into it as single-family residential district, but I don't know what happened with that. But I'm on the corner of Javery and Ben Thomas, and our house has been there, I guess, since maybe about 43, and we have living in that community on Javery Road, Ben Thomas, elderly people. We have, and I hate to put it this way, but there are times we have frequent visits from the fire department and the ambulances that come in because seniors are having issues. And if you look at those pictures there's one in particular where you will see an 18-wheeler. I took those this morning. He's in the middle of the street, and there's hardly left any street at all to pass on. And if you would look also that I took pictures from the very top of Ben Thomas to the point by the cable vision and the gentleman who has the dredging business and Mr. John's his welding service. Beyond that, it's nothing but woods. On the last time we were here, the owner indicated that across the street from where his business was years ago, his property is now. You see the gold placard? He said across the street was businesses. That's not so. If you look at the ditch, there's no driveway there. It's all a wooded area. The business ends with Mr. John's welding service, Charter across the street, and the dredging company, and then you run into residential until you get to Stone Road, which is it's under the jurisdiction of the city. So other than Mr. Laney Cole, who's right before you get to Stone Road, and then there's businesses back in the back behind Stone Road. We're still in opposition to it. We understand his position, but he has to understand that he's infringing upon us as citizens there, because if we have a fire, we have ambulances come and the business is trying to get trucks out, then there'll be a conflict there, because they'll be challenged with going to Powell Drive, trying to get to Javery, or further Ben Thomas, or going to Carnation. So I don't think that it's fair to us. We do understand that seasons change, and change is inevitable for our area, but it's just not, it's not the proper place for more industry to come in to our area. I-2, or whatever, we'd like to see it remain the same single-family residential district in that area, because it's not very far from the Owens family. The old Cablevision is right by them. Then the property we're talking about. Across the street, as I said, is all a wooded area until you get down. And I have members of our community that are here tonight, that are Sister Pearson and Sister Powell and Minister, I'm getting ready to say her maiden name, Minister Lucille is with us tonight, and there are several others that are at home praying that your decision will be not to grant this, to be changed.
Zoning change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We ask that you consider this, and all who are in our neighborhood. And I don't know if does you have anything to say, ladies? No. Oh, okay. But our plea to the council is that it remains the same, and Ben Thomas just can't take it. It's deteriorating, and we have school buses pass. The trucks have to stop. If two big 18-wheelers are coming, they have to stop where one can pass. It's just not a proper area for this kind of activity. We're looking forward to the day where the city takes responsibility for all of the trucks and traffic that go to Stone Road.
Your 5 minutes is up.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
God bless you.
You'll have 2 minutes of rebuttal after this, though.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Come to Mike, state your name and your address for the record, please, sir.
I'm Douglas Fisher, 664 Caravel Drive, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 70611. I have a complete set of photographs that I've given to your members of the district, and they show the land across the street from my business, not exactly across the street, but catty corner, probably 50 feet difference from where my property line will be on the side of my property versus theirs. From the cable television company on my side of the road all the way down to, I believe it's Javery Road, there's one house there on the very end. And from that point, it's commercial. If you'll see, there's cable television antennas, there's a storage facility there. There's a entranceway, which you don't have a picture of, for charters a little further down. All the property is being utilized by commercial or industrial usage, including the storage facility, which has had movement in it in the last month since I was here last time. I've taken another picture today, and that shows that they have a door open and another trailer parked in there now. So anyway, the property is landlocked the way we are right now, and they've rezoned us on the comprehensive rezoning as residential. And we have always been, since I had owned the property in 1976, it's always been light industrial. And I'm asking that we maintain this, because I am totally unable to sell this land if I have to go residential in the middle of a commercial unit. I really can't think of a lot more other than I just ask for your help, and please consider the I-1 zoning that we have requested. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Reverend, you have 2 minutes of rebuttal if you wish to speak.
Yes, sir. And I know your bell's going to let me know when it's up. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where the storage is, because the charter, the gray building there is Charter Cable. It was St. Tammany Cablevision years ago. Now it's Charter. That's where they maintain their trucks and other business from the cable business. But we still would like to ask you if you would consider us, the residents there, and the front end being so close to Highway 11 and all the traffic that we have already, because, you know, there's Stone Road there. We would still ask that you remember us as citizens there, and not grant permission for that I-1 nor the I-2. Maybe, you know, for down further, but our position remains the same. We don't think it's fair to us as the citizens, and especially on that top end. There's not a whole lot of traffic on the top end right now. The Cablevision comes through. These are smaller trucks. But as far as Mr. John, he's about, if he hadn't sold, he's retiring, because I've spoken to him, maybe sold now in the dredging business. They're hardly doing anything. The side entrance to Charter Cable is there. So it's not a whole lot on the top end. The most is back Stone Road. So if, I believe if there's any more busyness, maybe it needs to be back Stone Road, depending on what that is, past then. So I thank you for your consideration.
See
May
that?
God
We
bless
didn't
you
need the
guys.
bell. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I have 2 photographs here that show the storage facility right next to my property. In fact, its fence line is my fence line, and it shows activity in it in the last month's period of time. One of them has another trailer just been put into it, and the door's open on a storage building that it was closed on in this photograph less than 1 month ago at the last meeting. Other than that, again, I asked for your help on it, and we'd like to have a I-1 zoning. And we were hit by comprehensive rezoning on this. We weren't even notified that it was going to happen, because I live in Lake Charles. Had I known, I would have been here to at least discuss it and try to bring it around the way it used to be. And this has been this way since 1976. It's been zoned the way it was. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, I'm going to close the floor. Are there any questions? Mr. Smith? Mr. Stefanczyk?
Can I clear up something? What is the zoning being requested?
Well, right here on my agenda, it says I-2.
That's what mine said.
They requested I-2, the commission recommended I-1.
Okay, so we have a typo in the...
No, they requested I-2, the commission's motion was for I-1.
Excuse me,
I have
it
the
was
letter.
I-2, they down-zoned to I-1.
Okay, so the approval is I-1.
Yes.
So what we're looking at is I-1. Okay, Mr. Smith, or Mr. Stefanczyk, you still have your light on?
Let me tell you, I don't understand what you just said. If the zoning commission approved I-1, that's what should be coming to us, not I-2.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
The appeal has the I-1 on it. The appeal.
Well, you,
What's the question, Steve?
oh, I'm not reading from the same thing you're reading, apparently.
I don't see, no, my appeal says I-2.
You're on the, yeah.
What's the question?
Number
I have a
four.
copy of the
There's nothing that says I-1
information
on
that was
here
set out, and it
proves I-1.
says...
All right,
that the-
just a minute, floor is closed. Hold on, let me,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Fontenot, can you clarify?
This has come up every few months, the same thing comes up, where a certain request is made. What we've always done is sent the original request to the council for the agenda with the indication of what the motion was, the approval by the commission.
All right, so the commission's recommendation was for I-1.
For I-1.
But we're still considering I-2.
It was advertised for I-2, so that is still an option. Anything between A4 and I-2, I think it's A4, well, yeah, A4 and I-2 would be an option. The recommendation of the commission is I-1.
Mr. Smith, you want to clear this up?
Yes. The petitioner originally requested the zoning be changed to I-2. Okay?
That's correct.
And when they got to the zoning commission, they did not look on his petition favorably and I guess submitted a compromise of I-1. And that's what they approved, was the I-1.
Okay.
Okay. And with that being said, may I?
Yes, sir.
Are they finished?
Yes. Floor is
There
closed.
are several issues here that needs to be taken into consideration. And one is the history of this particular neighborhood, where the residents who are here tonight in opposition to this particular zoning of industrial use has been in existence for about 100 years. And what has happened over that period of time has been an influx of industrial, commercial, and all other types of uses that should never have happened in the first place. But that's beside the point. At this, it can't do anything about that. But we don't need to continue to inundate this neighborhood that has been inundated with all of these industrial uses and causing unsafe conditions for them and an environment for them to have to live with. Number two, there's a safety issue here. Ben Thomas Road, we have some capital projects on the way now to try and improve the traffic on Ben Thomas Road. There has actually been some 18-wheeler cars deaths on Ben Thomas Road because there's no sidewalks, there's inadequate ditching. It's just an unsafe road for vehicular traffic, let alone 18-wheelers and commercial delivery type vehicles, which goes on right now. The third thing is in industrial uses are within 1 mile to 3 miles from this particular site. So there are numerous opportunities for any business that wants to establish an industrial business to go to an industrial park right within 1 mile away. So it just does not make safety sense. It doesn't make any economic sense for that neighborhood. It doesn't make any sense to us as legislators to continue to allow residential neighborhoods to be inundated with these types of uses. And lastly, this should never have been heard by the Planning and Zoning Commission because there's a moratorium in place for that entire area, and somehow or another it slipped through the crack. So, for that alone, I don't think that this application is valid. And with that being said, we'd like to make a motion to overturn the
Override.
zoning commission's.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Bellicero. Now, we have some people who have their lights on. I'm going to go to Mr. Bender first, then to Mr. Canulette.
Okay, Sidney, since Councilman Smith brought up a moratorium, is there a moratorium on this piece of property?
I was going to try and attempt to look and see what the moratorium is, if it's building permits or zoning changes. We have a number of moratorium, and I don't have that list with me.
Okay. And in my next question is, it's just a fairness question.
okay, in looking at any of these appeals. I notice in the staff's notes, and I too was confused about this I-2 versus I-1. So what the zoning commission approved was I-1, or, excuse me, M1. I-1,
Recommended approval of I-1.
I-1, which was formerly M1.
No, it's a different, M1 was an industrial classification, but it was the old ordinance.
I understand. Is M1 and I-1 about the same intensity?
Probably the closest.
Okay. So tell me what could be put in I-1.
1 second. Radio, television studios, auto body shops, outdoor storage contractor yards, welding shops, indoor recreational facilities, office warehouses, portable storage containers for storage, outdoor display of pre-assembled buildings.
Okay. Now, you have a note here that says the site was zoned M1 Light Industrial District before the comprehensive rezoning. Do we know for how many years it was zoned M1?
If it's not in the report, we don't have the date on that one, no.
Okay.
We try, when we do find out that information
So the council, some kind of way we change this from M1 Light Industrial District, this property, to A4?
in the comprehensive rezoning, yes.
Okay. And does the staff have an opinion on I-1 versus A4?
Staff made a recommendation of denial for industrial uses.
Staff what?
Recommends denial for industrial uses.
Okay,
Part
thank
of
you.
the process of the comprehensive rezoning was when we spotted something we felt was an inappropriate zoning, particularly next to residential, we made recommendations to downzone that property.
Thank you.
Mr. Canulet?
Yeah, Mr. Gould. I think there's some really serious confusion here. Mr. Fisher, come up to the mic real quick.
Yes, sir.
Now you're saying you're here to go from I-1 to I-2?
No, I'm here to go from comprehensive, from residential, which is what, A4, I believe, something like that,
So you want to keep.
to I-1. Okay, what had happened is we
Hang on.
misfiled it.
I understand what the
Okay.
rezoning. So you want to keep it, you kept bringing up I-2, I just want to make sure I'm straight here. So you want to keep it I-1?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Belisario?
Okay, this piece of property, to my knowledge, is totally undeveloped. There's still trees there. So this piece of land has never been used for any use. It got different designations over time, and I don't see any reason to change this, especially to an industrial classification, because it's so far off of Highway 11.
Mr. Smith?
My motion is on the floor.
Are you calling a question?
Yes, sir.
Call a question?
Yes.
All right, any other discussion?
I have the information about the moratorium, if they want.
Okay, just to clarify, we have the information on the moratorium. If you would indulge us for a moment on the calling a vote. Yeah.
The moratorium was an ordinance to extend, it was passed in May for the receipt of submissions by the Parish Zoning and Planning Commission for the rezoning or re-subdivision of property west of Highway 11 and south of Interstate 12 within unincorporated boundaries of Ward 9 and District 14.
It shouldn't have come to you. It shouldn't have come to you. It should have been caught by the moratorium. We
Well,
apologize.
since we've been through the process, let's hold a vote. We'll hold a vote. Okay, the motion is to override the approval, and we had a second, so we need to vote on that, and let's see how it comes out. Vote with your lights. Question's been called.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Okay, the motion's been overturned. Now, you need to move on a resolution, and second by Mr. Stefanczyk. Vote with your lights on the resolution, please.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Very good, thank you.
Mr. Gould?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask Mr. Ham one question?
Sure.
Since the property is in moratorium, does this vote really, does it count? Does it mean anything?
Well, it shouldn't have come up at the zoning commission to begin with, so it's A4, even with the vote, it goes back, it's still A4.
Yeah, the process
Yeah.
is once it's been heard,
Right.
regardless of whether it was put on the agenda, incorrectly or not, we still have to go through the remainder of it. Okay, next item, under appeal, the last appeal is Paul Barone appealing Planning Commission approval on October 9, 2012 of tentative subdivision review of River Club subdivision, Ward 1, District 1. Mr. Marone, okay, is there anyone in opposition to this project? Okay, Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Gould. Paul Marone on behalf of the appellant. This is the same project that came before the council at its last meeting, wherein the PUD zoning was approved for the project. That plan that was before you at the zoning level is the same plan that is before you tonight on our appeal from tentative. Nothing has changed from that plan. At the commission meeting on tentative, the commission in fact approved the plan that is before you, which may cause you to ask, well, why is there an appeal? The reason for the appeal is that because of the configuration of the property and because of the canal that is proposed, the plan before you required two waivers, one of the block length as required by the subdivision ordinance and the other of the cul-de-sac length. There is a requirement under the subdivision ordinance that says any block can't be more than 1,500 linear feet. One of our blocks, in fact, extends 200 feet beyond that. The other waiver that we requested was of the limitation of 700 feet for a cul-de-sac. We're again 200 feet beyond that distance. When the commission approved the plan, they expressly did not approve the waivers. As a result of that, we went back to the engineer on the project to determine if there was any method by which we could revise the plan without a complete redraw to alleviate the need for the waivers. However, given the configuration of the boundaries of the property, the fact that we'll have a large canal through the middle of the property, there simply wasn't any way for us to amend the plan to alleviate the need for the waivers. So that necessitated the appeal before you this evening. We would respectfully request, as the commission did, to approve the tentative plan, but to also approve the two waivers that I just mentioned. Neither of the waivers, in my opinion, are significant in that we're only talking about 200 feet. That 200 feet in each instance, I would respectfully suggest would not have any adverse effect on the residents or any visitors to the development. So with that being said, we would ask for your approval of the tentative plan, but with the waivers of the extension of the block length by 200 feet and the cul-de-sac length by 200 feet as well.
Okay, Mr. Dean, there's no opposition here, so I'm going to close the floor for the time being and see what you have to say. Well, Mr. Falconer, you have your light on?
Yeah, I've just got a question, and I'm not sure to whom to address this because perhaps the engineering department. It seems to me like these lengths, these block lengths and cul-de-sac lengths are a function of fire protection, water pressure and fire protection. And I'm just wondering whether or not there is that issue. I mean, we certainly set the 1,500 feet. There's got to be some rational basis for having that 1,500 feet. That's the only rational basis I can think of off the top of my head. And I'm just wondering whether this is the case and whether there's a problem here in that
Mr.
regard.
Fontenot?
It allows for traffic circulation, looking towards a grid pattern or some kind of grid pattern where you don't have block lengths of 3,000, 4,000 feet, and everybody is forced for that distance to move through a subdivision neighborhood through a town.
So it doesn't have any connection with lengths of providing fire pressure over a length of
I don't know
fire
why
hose?
the street breaks would.
Say again, I'm sorry?
It's all pressurized water. I don't know why a fact that there's a street there would have any effect on the fire protection.
Okay.
Hydrants still have to be at regular distances.
Right. Okay, cool.
But it would provide access around a smaller block for fire protection. So that is another possible access.
Okay. Mr. Dean?
Yes, sir. I don't see any reason why. Sidney, why didn't they go to the Board of Adjustments? Is this not
Oh, this was by the zoning commission.
I know,
mean,
but why
planning
wouldn't he
commission.
have gone to them rather
Why
than
wouldn't
ask
they?
that waiver for?
It's a subdivision requirement, not a zoning requirement. Zoning requirements are, the waivers are held for building standard, height, area, bulk are handled by the board as adjustments.
set for the record.
Subdivisions actually are reviewed by the planning commission. Board of Adjustments has no jurisdiction.
Okay, all right. Mr. Chairman? You
I'm
ready?
sorry, Mr. Dean, you made a motion?
Not yet, I was getting ready to. I'd like
Okay.
to make a motion to override the planning approval.
Okay, and you're going to grant the waivers?
That's correct.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All right, vote with your lights with well, override the approval.
Yeah, how's that gonna work?
Goofy. This is goofy.
Maybe that could be worded a little differently.
Yeah, I'm kind of, to amend, the motion is to concur and to amend the approval to include the waivers.
The waivers, that's right.
Okay. Nothing's real easy with you, District, you know that?
I know it. That's what keeps
Mr.
it
Thompson,
fun.
you second that? All right, vote with your lights.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Okay, that concludes appeals. We're going to move on to ordinance for adoption. Oh, you need to, what?
You need to adopt a resolution.
Yeah, Mr. Dean, we need to do
So
a
moved.
resolution. Second by Mr. Thompson. Vote with your lights on the resolution. Thank you. You know me, I'm going to get rolling.
Oh, no. Motion is unanimous, three absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4812AA, ordinance to amend the Parish Unified Development Code regarding buffer setback and height regulations in MD3 and MD4. I need a motion to adopt. Second by Mr. Thompson. Any questions? Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, two absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4887, ordinance amending the official parish zoning map to reclassify 6.33 acres from A2 to Public Facilities 1, Ward 6, District 6. Mr. Tanner? Second by Mr. Thompson again. Vote with your lights.
Motion is unanimous, two absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4888, ordinance amending the official parish zoning map to reclassify 11 acres from A1 to A2, Ward 2, District 6. Mr. Tanner? Second by Mr. Thompson again. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, two absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4889, ordinance amending the official parish zoning map to reclassify 1.5 acres from A2 to A2 with a mobile home overlay, and this is Ward 8, District 9. Second by Ms. O'Brien. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, two absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4890, ordinance to authorize parish president to grant non-exclusive utility servitude to Washington St. Tammany Electric Cooperative Incorporated along Highway 1129 and Johnny F. Smith Memorial Park. This is Ward 2, District 6. Mr. Tanner? Second by Mr. Thompson. Vote with your lights, please.
Mr. Artigue? Motion is unanimous, two absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4891, ordinance to declare undeveloped property on the northwest corner of Rue Esplanade and Military Road in Slidell as surplus property and to authorize a private sale, public auction, and/or disposal of said property described herein. Ward 8, District 13. Mr. Artigue?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Bellisario. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, two absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4892, ordinance to amend the 2012 operating budget, amendment number 9. Need a motion? Second by Mr. Sharp. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, two absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4893, ordinance to extend for 6 months the moratorium property west of Highway 11 and south of Interstate 12. Need a motion, Mr. Smith? So moved. Second by Mr. Artigue. Vote with your lights.
That's the same property.
Yeah, I recognized it.
Motion is unanimous, 2 absent.
All right. Ordinance calendar number 4894, ordinance to extend for 6 months the moratorium on pain management centers and clinics. Mr. Bender, second by Mr. Artigue. Vote with your lights.
Motion is unanimous, 2 absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4896, ordinance to amend Parish Code of Ordinances, provide for the installation of subsurface utilities to, in connection with the future construction of Holy Trinity Drive. I need somebody. Bender, second by Mr. Belisario. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, 2 absent.
Ordinance calendar number 4898, ordinance amending the official parish zoning map to reclassify 150.97 acres from MD1, A3, A4, to MD1, A3, A4, and a PUD, Ward 1, District 1. Why not, Mr. Dean?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Thompson. Very complicated.
Yes.
Motion is unanimous, 1 absent.
Hey, when I nod, just do it. Ordinance calendar number 4899, ordinance amending the official parish zoning map to reclassify 49,503 square feet from NC1 to NC2, Ward 7, District 7. Mr. Groby? Second by Mr. Tanner. Vote with your lights.
Motion is unanimous, 1 absent.
All right, ordinance calendar number 4900, ordinance amending the official parish zoning map to reclassify 12,000 square feet from A4 to ED1, Ward 4, District 7. Mr. Second by Mr. Tanner. Vote with your lights, please.
Motion is unanimous, 1 absent.
All right, under nominations, nominate 2 individuals to appoint to the Board of Commissioners of St. Tammany Rec District Number 16. This is Districts 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir, we are getting there. Yeah. And while we're getting there, we also want to elicit the support of some of these other district council representatives. But we want to offer into nomination tonight the name of Damon Kuzan.
Okay, so we're going to open the floor to nominations. There's a motion. Second by Mr. Canulette. Vote with your lights to open the floor. All right, nomination is Mr. Daniel Kuzan?
Damon, D-A-M-O-N, Damon.
Damon, okay. Any other nominations? Well, you want to leave the floor open until we get the rest, or do we have to close it? All right, we'll move to appointing. Okay, motions to appoint, second by Mr. Stefancic. Vote with your lights to appointing. So is he the only commissioner, or do we have any others, TJ? One more to go. Okay, so we're getting there.
They do have a quorum, though.
Okay, good. All right, next,
Motion is unanimous, 1 absent.
all right, next one is nominate 4 individuals to appoint to the Board of Commissioners of St. Tammany Rec District Number 10. This is Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Guys, did y'all get anybody? No. I was waiting for the city of Covington to come back.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chairman, I don't think my district includes any of Ward 3.
I don't think you're in there either, but that's the way it's typed in.
Mr. Gould, I believe, wasn't the Riverwood subdivision
That's in Mr. Dean's district.
the one just south of I-12?
Yeah, I believe that's in Mr. Dean's district, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. All right, so let's move to postpone. Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Falconer. Vote with your lights on the postponement until next month.
Mr. Thompson? Motion is unanimous, one absent.
All right, have a resolution to appoint Sandra LaBourgeois to the Community Action Agency Advisory Board representing public and private organizations. Ms. O'Brien?
Yes, and it's Serrata, and we've been a little light on attendance, so if there's no other nominations, I'd like to ask that we suspend the rules and adopt.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to put the name of Al Hamway in. Somehow it didn't get onto this agenda because I had put his name up over a month ago.
So actually what we have here is we need to open the floor for nominations.
Yes. So moved.
Okay. Open the floor, vote with your lights to open the floor. Okay. Yeah, it's parish-wide, so it's going to have to hold over. Let's get the nominations.
Sure.
Okay, Ms.
Serrata-
O'Brien?
Serrata LaBourgeois, and we
Okay.
do have room for two.
Okay, and we do have room for two?
We do.
We have room for three
We
total.
have room for
Three?
several.
Okay, so we got Al Hamway.
Yes.
All right, well,
Mr. Gould?
let's go ahead and appoint him.
Pardon the interruption, but Mr. Hamway already serves. He
That's fine.
was,
No, he doesn't.
he was appointed on August 2nd.
I thought he was.
His number showed up. There is no, if that's the case, there is no documentation with the Secretary of the Community Action Advisory Board. Because we talked about this with Tanya Hill. She said she has received no paperwork from us.
Well,
Okay.
Mr. Bellisario, I'll have to follow up with that.
Yeah.
But our
Okay.
appointment sheet reflects that he was appointed at the same time that Samantha Goodwin and Pastor Rosalind Solomon were
Okay.
appointed.
Okay.
But we will verify that, but if, it doesn't hurt to appoint him again, and it
Yeah,
would just be redundant.
that's what I was going to suggest, just the motion is to appoint it. Ms.
So-
O'Brien, second by
Mr. Belser.
Mr. Bellisario. Vote with your lights on the appointment.
Of course.
Appointments, plural. Both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of them he may have to sign two sets of paper.
Motion is unanimous, no one absent.
Okay. Under appointments, resolution to appoint one individual to the Parish Planning and Zoning Commission, parish-wide. We have two nominees, Ronald Randolph and Mr. Court Hutchinson. We need a vote sheet, and then what we'll do is we'll move to the next item, and once the vote sheet's put in, we'll tally them. All right? All right, the next one is a resolution to appoint Candace Lemons and Stacy Cuvier? Cuevas, that's correct, Cuevas, to replace Lynette Sterner and fill a vacant position on St. Tammany Parish Rec District Number 6, Districts 2 and 6. Mr. Tanner? Second by Mr. Thompson. Vote with your lights on the appointments.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
All right, the next one is a resolution to appoint Eugene Patrick Phillips to replace Alan Flexer to St. Tammany Parish Sub-Drainage District Number 2, Gravity Drainage District Number 5. Need a motion by Mr. Bender, second by Mr. Smith. Okay, vote with your lights, please. Okay.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Okay. Mr. Bender, you want to take over? We need to go to open up items off the floor. We have discussions in other matters? Where's it at? Oh, just one. All right. I'll turn it over to him. Okay. Time to go to work. See you later. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Stefanski.
Move to refer to the zoning commission for a mobile home overlay on the parcels on the south sides of Charlene Drive, west of Chris Kennedy Road.
Motion by Mr. Stefanczyk, seconded by Mr. Belisario. Please vote.
You need to reopen it. Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Thank you. I need a motion to reopen the items off the floor agenda. Motion by Mr.
We already
Groby,
opened
seconded
it.
by Mr. Belisario. Please vote.
Hold on, my machine's gonna catch up. Motion is unanimous, one absent.
All right, moving to item number 3, resolution to reappoint John Evans, whose term's expiring November 2nd, to Parish Hospital Service District Number 1, St. Tammany Parish Hospital, Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 10. Mr. Thompson.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Thompson, seconded by Mr. Tanner. Please vote.
By voice vote didn't count. Jeez, again, jeez.
Motion is unanimous, two absent.
Item 4 is ordinance establishing a no parking zone on a portion of Dove Park Road, Ward 4, District 5. We need a motion and a
So
second
moved.
only. Motion by Mr. Belisario, second by Mr. Thompson. No need to vote. This is for introduction only. Okay, item 5 is ordinance to amend the St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances to amend Section 2-009.00 Parish Fees and Service Charges B, Development 4 Mandatory Impact Fees. This is by Sharp, Tanner, and Thompson.
So
Gentlemen,
moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Tanner, and that's all we need. It's introduction only. Item 6 is resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to transfer funds in the amount of $16,000 from the Voluntary Development Agreements escrow account to Capital Fund 327, Capital Projects Building, District 6. Mr. Tanner. Motion by Mr. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Groby. Please vote.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Item 7 is resolution to amend ordinance CS number 11-2638, the 2012 through 2016 capital improvement budget and program, fixed access and grant awards, capital improvements facilities, Ward, District 6. Mr. Tanner. Motion by Mr. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Thompson. Please vote.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Item 8 is resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to transfer funds in the amount of $76,916.58 from the Voluntary Developmental Agreements Escrow Account to Capital Fund 370-TMDL, District 10. Ms. O'Brien.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Stefanczyk. Please vote.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Item 9 is resolution to authorize the parish president to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office to acquire and manage a parish-wide interoperable communication system. Need a motion. Motion by Mr. Canulet, seconded by Mr. Artigue. Please vote. It says interoperable, huh? No. I think it's to make the inoperable 8 radios interoperable. Yes, exactly.
Mr. Falconer, I need your vote. Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Item 10 is a resolution to authorize the parish president to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals for the use of the hospital facilities at Southeast Louisiana Hospital. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Stefanczyk. Please vote. Madam Parish President, is there anything you want to say on this?
Just as by way of explanation, because the timing is so tight on this issue, we want to be ready if the state comes to us with any agreement with a private entity. We may not have time to get back before the council again
Okay.
to make that happen before the end of the year, which is their deadline. We're just being prepared.
Great. Thank you.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Item 11 is resolution authorize the parish president to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the private provider obtained by the Department of Health and Hospitals to provide mental health services at the Southeast Louisiana Hospital site. Do you want to give us an update on that, Madam President?
Yes, I can. Negotiations are still going on. We've met with the state several times. We have another meeting Wednesday with them, so we're still trying to find a solution. And again, this is the same. We want to be ready if that solution is found, but it's ongoing. And I'm feeling, more optimistic with every meeting, so we're
Have we
looking.
had any discussions with a particular private provider?
Yes.
And do they look encouraging as far as a good member of the community?
Yes.
Good. Great.
And the only reason I'm cryptic, I don't mean to be.
No.
It's just until the state
Right.
signs an agreement with a private entity, it means nothing until they sign it.
Right.
So I wouldn't, but I am more encouraged because we see some discussions going on.
Good.
Which is what we've always wanted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, please vote with your lights.
I don't know who seconded on
Mr.
that.
Stefanczyk and Mr. Belisario.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Okay, excuse me, does anyone have any other items off the floor that they'd like to present? Mr. Dean, Sharp, Thompson, Mr. Falconer, Mr. Tanner, Mr. Groby, Mr. Canulet, Mr. Belisario, Ms. O'Brien, Mr. Stefanczyk, Mr. Ortiz, Mr. Smith? No, okay. Well,
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything off the
Yes,
floor,
ma'am.
but I did want to make one comment, and this is a report that has just come out, and some of you may not have seen it, but it shows, again, an indication that we are doing better, and that is our single-family permits issued. It's continuing to go up, so.
Good.
I hope everybody will take a look at that report when they get a chance, because it is encouraging for the parish also.
Excellent. Very good. Before we get a motion to go into executive session, let me announce the results of the Planning and Zoning Commission vote. The person who has been appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission is Mr. Ronald Randolph. We want to thank Mr. Randolph and Mr. Hutchinson for both agreeing to have their names put up for service. Thank the two council members who nominated both of these gentlemen. Mr. Randolph, Mike, you'll make Mr. Randolph aware of his appointment?
Yes, I certainly will.
Okay.
As soon as you entertain a motion to appoint.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Would you like to make that motion?
No, sir. Thank you, though.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Stefanczyk. Please vote.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
I was giving you a chance to vote as a councilman. I mean, what can I say?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and with that appointment and vote, I want to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues and those of you who considered my nominee. I want to say that it's not that often that you run across an individual who brings certain qualities to the table that you can consider when we're looking to fill some of these nominations. But I want to say that I'm sure that this appointment the council and the public will be more than pleased at their action.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Chairman, could I add to,
Yes, ma'am.
I've worked with Ron Randolph on many different occasions, the first being the Environmental Service Commission, years ago before it became a department. He has been a true public servant, and I agree with Mr. Smith. I think he'll be a great asset to this commission.
Thank you, Madam President. And I would just finally add, I took the opportunity to interview both of these gentlemen, and I would tell you, certainly Mr. Randolph is well qualified, and I was equally impressed with Mr. Court Hutchinson. So it's just a situation where we have one available position and two qualified people. So again, I thank both for putting their names up for public service. Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session. Motion by Mr. Candelat, second by Mr. Stefanski. Please vote.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Man, you catch everything, Steve. For an old person, it's incredible. I mean, really. Thank you, Stephen.
I move we come back out of executive, we did vote to come out of the executive session.
We got your motion. Second by Mr. Smith.
I move that we authorize settlement of the Omni Pinnacle versus St. Tammany Parish and Pinnacle versus St. Tammany Parish as recommended by the legal.
Okay, motion by Mr. Stefanczyk, seconded by Mr. Artigue. Please vote.
Motion is unanimous, one absent.
Item 2, Clico. You did them both together, Steve? You were determined. You got it. Move to adjourn.